G'day folks, in this video I'll show how you can solve this crazy 𝘼𝘽𝙊 cube. This is the 𝘼𝘽𝙊 cube with some circle faces in it, and this is the all zero face version, and that's the one that comes shipped. And the reason I say that is because it's super simple to change the zero faces to one faces and get an entire planetary series out of this puzzle. Well done MF8, great work. Now, in terms of doing that, what are the zero faces, what are the one faces? Well, zero faces are, when I turn that outer collar, you'll notice the inside parts stay fixed. That is a zero face. A one face is when those inside circle parts would turn with the outer collar. So this thing's been scrambled. I'm going to take you through how to solve each section of it, and it really forms the basis for a number of other puzzles. So I will do things in a certain order here. Let's get going. The first thing is the quickest stage of the whole lot, and it is to reposition the center triangles. I'm calling them these little center triangles here, and the only place they can go is one turn away from where they belong. So you'll see there's a green one there. It's going to turn on the corner, and as I do that, the other two there turn in as well. So I just want to do something like this. Is that it? One more maybe. There we go. That's done. And they won't come out again. And the next stage here is to place the circle wing pairs. And it's a fairly long stage, so I'm not sure if I'll do the whole lot, but I'll certainly show you the method that I use. The reason that I say circle wing pairs, so I'm talking about these little pieces here. If we look at the pieces inside the circle, obviously you've got the center, you've got what I've called the center triangles, and you've got these little edges. I'm calling them circle edges. This edge would be an outer edge, so there's a circle edge there, the yellow piece, and then the two reds either side are circle wings. And on this puzzle, they come in pairs. In other words, you can't just go, well, I'll place a particular green one on the green face anywhere. It's got to be a pair. And as an example, if you look at the red there and the green there, those are a pair. Now, if I turn them, they always go together. If I turn another face, they're both fixed. And if I turn this face, they're also both fixed. So what I would normally do is just start with my favorite corner, which is white, red, blue, and solve them corner at a time. And I know that I can look at this and say, there's a green, red. Couldn't I just turn that around to there and it's done? Yes, absolutely. I'm just going to pretend I didn't see that for the purposes of this video. So what I would be doing here is going corner by corner and getting all three of them done. And the reason that I've found that nice is because it allows a whole lot of movement and availability of pieces in different corners, rather than just randomly placing one here, maybe one here. So on this corner, what I'm looking for is a white blue, a white red, and a red blue. So there's a white red just here, but you can see that it's definitely reversed. There's no way that I'm going to be able to flip that around. They will not flip. All they'll do is sort of rotate 120 degrees. So if I was to rotate this corner here like that, you can see there's that white red, but it's clearly in the wrong position. So that is the incorrect white red, which is really good because it tells me I need to find the other white red, which will be the correct one. There it is, red, white down there. So what I would do is just place it under where it needs to go. I know that it's going to fill here. So for now, I will turn that position down, and then I know that the white's got to go there to go up to the top. So I'm going to turn this corner around to put it on, and then undo, undo. That is your basic move to get these things done. There's the white red safely in position. What about the white blue or the red blue? So I'll just try and find it. There's a white blue there. So because, as I said, I've got all the rest of these corners available to move, I don't have to sort of move this down underneath. I can do it over here if it is the correct one. So I would just temporarily turn like that so that I can see white blue is going to come over to there. That is going to be the correct one. And so again, in terms of getting it in, there's its position. I'll turn its position across, turn the corner to get the white blue onto its correct position, undo, undo. And now that white blue is in. The last piece here is the red blue, which has got to go across there. A little search for it. Initially, the first lot take a little bit longer because they could be anywhere. There's a red blue over here. I don't really have a clue if that's the correct one or not. What I could try and do is say, well, the red is going to be on that yellow green. So if I was just to turn that around, the yellow green to there, I'd say, does the red blue turn around to match that? And it looks like it does. So I can call that the first of my moves. I can turn the corner to put the red blue in there. Come on. There we go. And then undo that move and undo that move. Let's go back around to here and we'll see that the red blue is in. Now that is the basis of all the corners, and you just keep sort of working your way around. What I think I'll do is do another corner and then I'll skip through to perhaps the last couple. So I'll just come around here, do the red, white, green next. Let's see what I've got. There's nothing obviously really close. I know it's not here because that's done. Let's see if, well, there's a white, green. Is that the correct one? Can't really tell. There's a red, green here. And again, I could kind of look and see if I was to just move that up there, will that turn around on the corner? I think it will. So what I would do there is, yep, that's the right one. The red, green that pair needs to turn to here. So I'll turn that around, move it up, undo, undo, and the red, green is in. And notice that it has not affected anything that we've already done. Okay, white, green or white, red is the other one. Now, because I've already done a white, red, I know that the other white, red that I find is guaranteed to be the correct one. So I just have to lay my eyes on that. There it is. So for now, I would like that over here. So I'm just going to sort of turn it around so that it's on that bottom layer. Turn it across and undo that little turn. Undo it properly. And there we go. Now I could turn this back, but there's no real need because I haven't done any of these corners yet. So there's the white, red. That's got to go into that position. So I can bring its position down, turn the corner so that the white goes correctly. There's the red, bring it back up and undo. And that white, red is in. And the last one here, the white, green. Now, could be either because I haven't done this white, green. So I'll just find one of them. There is one. Again, I've got no real idea if that's the correct one. So I'll just move this position across to put the white, green onto it. A little bit of trouble here with the alignment of these corners. Here we go, that white, is that white, green on it? Now it is. Bring it back, put the corner back. Okay, the white, green is there. Is that the correct one? Well, I note that if I turn this corner, that white piece will land there, which is going to then go into its position. So this is the correct corner. And so I can now bring the position down, or the correct piece, I should say, put the white, green onto it, undo, undo. And if you look there, you'll see, yep, those two greens, those two reds, those two whites, and the same thing has happened for that corner there. So I'm going to just continue working my way around. I'll do this one, I'll do this one. Once I've done that, I'll just sort of turn it up and use the top layer, and I'll cut back in when I'm down to the last couple. Well, we've got all the white layer done on the top layer. I've got the yellow, green, orange. I've also got the yellow, green, red. You can see all of those ones there. So I'm down to the last two here. And with the last two, I'm not specifically trying to get a complete corner done. I'm just trying to get one here, two here, and then finish with a 3 cycle if that happens. So I would just initially look and see, I've got none there. Have I got any over this side? none that are done. So for example, I can see there's a yellow red here, which must belong over in this position somewhere. So the yellow of the yellow red is going to come to there. And so that tells me that I want to turn this piece around to there, because that will be the yellow of the yellow red. So I'll turn this piece around, put the yellow red on, undo, undo. Again, it's not disrupted anything else we've done. Now, sometimes when you place one piece, that will automatically place a second piece somewhere, but it hasn't in this case, so that's okay. I would then probably get a second one done over here somewhere. So because I'd like to leave this one clear to use for the last corner, I'm going to do the yellow blue. And the yellow blue piece is right here. So that has got to twist around like that. So the way to get this done is just to use some piece over here that I have not yet done to push it out, and then to bring the yellow blue piece around to there and then undo. So I push out the piece that I'm trying to place. Now the yellow blue position is there, so I bring that down into that position, and I undo and undo. And what you'll see is that the yellow blue has now been placed along with that yellow red. That leaves me a third piece here, which is a yellow blue, which clearly goes over this place somewhere. None of these other ones are done. So let's see what we've got. Let's at least try and place one of them over here. That yellow blue I might as well place into this position. So in order to do that, I want to turn this position around so that I may turn the yellow blue onto the position, and then undo, undo. That's got the yellow blue in. Now around about this point, you'll notice that the orange blue has also placed. When you've done this, you're either going to get to one of three situations. It'll automatically solve. Well, that's never happened to me yet, but it's possible. Or you'll be left with a 3 cycle of pairs, or you'll be left with a swap. So let's see what we've got here. I've got the yellow orange, which needs to go to the blue red, and that blue red needs to go to the yellow orange. So I do indeed have a swap here. It's pretty cool that it happened, because I was going to show you anyway. So that's the only thing. The other scenario, as I said, is that you would have one here and then 2 over on this corner, and you just finish with that final 3 cycle. Now with a swap, we just got to think about what has caused that. The thing we know that we can't do to fix it is to say, let's turn a corner like that. And the reason for that is because obviously it puts out these center triangles. So that is not the fix. The fix is in fact to turn this upper face a single turn. And it doesn't matter which direction. I've just turned it clockwise there, but you could turn it the other way, no problem. Now that has created other swaps, which will now enable us to finish with a 3 cycle. So you can see that the red green has come out from its position and the green orange has come out from its position. So I would normally fix the 2 that I had previously done. So let me fix first of all this green orange, and the way I'll do that, because it's sitting here, I will probably just sacrifice one of these pieces and turn that off, bring its position over, undo, undo. So I'll do that first. I'll turn it off, bring the position, undo, undo. And what that's done is replace the 3 pairs on that particular corner. I want to do the same thing here. So here I've got the yellow red still in position. I've got this yellow green that needs to go to here. So I'll get that one sorted first. And to do that, I'll just use some other piece over here that's not yet done, which happens to be the green red. So in fact, that red green will come here, the yellow green will go there, and the blue orange will come back to here. So that's a nice little fix to get this corner done. So we'll just cycle those ones home. Okay, that has repositioned all the pairs on that particular corner. So the first 2 on this upper layer are now done again. And now we'll have a look what's going on here. Yellow, red, yellow, blue are done. I've got a blue, orange here. Now you remember that I had a swap before, but what you see now is that on this final corner, the yellow blue is done, but in fact I've got the blue red and the yellow orange that are not. So we've now created a 3 cycle there, which will enable us to solve it. So we just think about what's got to go where. That blue orange pair has to go to the yellow orange. The yellow orange has to go up here to the blue red, which therefore has to come back here. So that also tells me the piece movement that I want. So I'm going to turn the blue orange onto here to the yellow orange, and I'll turn this blue red piece down into position, undo, undo. And when you've done that, you'll notice that all of the circle edge wings, as I'm calling them, are in place. And so that's the hardest that will get, is just if you have a swap of pairs at the end. But that's certainly completed that little stage of the solve. Okay, the next thing that I want to do, and there's a few things that I could do here, but what I'm going to do is actually to place those little circle edge pieces. The reason for that is because I want to solve this as though I was trying to solve a circle cube. In other words, I'm going to reduce it to a circle cube. Again, reason being that this is going to help for when I solve some planets, which I need to reduce to a circle cube in the same way. So this particular thing, solving those little tiny pieces here, I could do at the end because it is a pure sequence. It only affects these pieces. But just for the sake of having all the circle parts solved, I'm going to do it now. So it's a really simple and a nice thing. And if you know anything about the corner piece series, you will like this. So here's what I want to do. I'll just look for something that is sitting in any face and that needs to go down to this front face. So if it's on the upper face, for example, let me just find one that I can easily demonstrate. Here we go. There's a green piece that is sitting on the upper face in the front position, and I'd like it to go to either here or here. It doesn't matter which one. For this purpose, I'll say, let's bring it down to here. The piece movement is going to be this green piece is going to travel to there, to the yellow. That little yellow piece will go across to the orange, and the little orange piece will come to the green. As I said, it's a pure sequence. Now, the quarter piece series, what we do is on a normal 3x3, we just turn the upper face clockwise, and then we turn the right face away. So if I just start carrying that out, I go upper face and right away from me, and then upper anti-clockwise and left away from me, that sort of thing. Now that is what I'm doing here, except instead of turning left and right faces, what I'm going to do is turn left and right corners. That will get the job done. So in order to make this piece movement in that direction, here I go. Upper face, right corner gets turned away from me. Upper face anti-clockwise, left corner is turned away from me. And then I undo everything. Upper face, right corner turned towards me. Upper face anti-clockwise, left corner turned towards me. And you'll notice that little green piece which was at the top is now safely in position. In fact, those 3 pieces have cycled. Don't know if you noticed the outer edges, they have not changed. The corners have not changed. Nothing's changed except for those 3 pieces. So it's really nice and quick. It's not a difficult sequence, and it will get these done now for us. So I would probably normally see if it's possible to place more than one at a time. So here's a yellow that can go there or there, whatever suits. Let's say that I wanted to bring the yellow here to this red position. I know that the red piece is going to go to there. Is it possible to put a red position there? And I notice the red face is next to it. So if I turn that around, now I can get that red piece across to there as well. That's a white, so I won't get 3 done, but I'll certainly get 2 done. So 1 setup move, carry out the sequence. You can see why this is having a little bit of trouble here. Just these circles are not quite aligning when I'm turning. Okay, that's done. The yellow's there. That red piece is into its position. So I'll bring that back around, and that's done as well. So I will do a couple more because I want to do the other direction as well. So let's see if I can find something else that will work out. Okay, not immediately obvious here, but I can use this blue piece with the orange, because what I can do is say, if I can't find anything that's nice and obvious, I can just turn a corner so that that little blue piece comes to the front face, and it's got to go there because where we start, I really want that to go to that position. So if I just do a turn first, now I'd like that to travel up there. So in fact, the piece movement is going to be the opposite. So we're going to do the mirror sequence. Before I start this, I would probably see, is there a piece that I can put here which will go into this position? And remember, this position is actually a yellow. So I'll sort of look here and say, is there a yellow somewhere that will do the job? Close, but no cigar. That yellow needs to be here or here in order to turn up into position there. So that's not going to work. The other thing I might consider is it possible to get that little orange piece is going to land there. Can I turn an orange piece around? Oh, yes, I can. There's a position which is orange. So I'm going to turn that face around as a setup. Now what have I got? I've got the blue going up to here. I've got the orange going down to its position, and this blue will then go across there. So that'll get me 2 done, so it's worth doing. So I said we're doing the mirror sequence. This is going to go down to the right, across to the left, up to the top. So I want to turn upper face anti-clockwise and then the left corner away from me, upper face clockwise, and then the right corner away from me. Okay, that is all done. You can see the orange piece is placed nicely. So when I undo that setup move, it's in. The other setup move to undo was this corner, which is really nice and obvious. Let's go for one more before we cut through to the end. There is a white piece there potentially. And I notice I could get it into there. So as an example, I could turn that corner to place this white piece into the position where the yellow is. And I got to think, can I get a yellow piece over to there? And I can, because that piece there will turn up, so that yellow will also place. So pretty straightforward setups there as well. This one's back to the ordinary upper face clockwise turn first. There we go. Undo those setups. And you can see that is pretty straightforward and pretty simple. And I'm just going to keep going through them until I come down to the last 2 or 3. Okay, well, here I am with the last 3. I've got the green needing to go here, the white needing to go to there, and that orange piece coming back here. You could get 2 to do, as in a swap of 2. It looks like a swap of 2. It's not really, because we've got multiple pieces here. So if you had a swap with, say, a white and a green piece, you would just involve a 3rd piece of either white or green to carry out your final 3 cycle. But in this case, I've got a 3 cycle and I've got to figure out how to get the pieces where I want them to go. So there's probably a few different options here, but I'll try doing this. I've got the white sitting there. I want to get, I notice that the green, that green can go to here, which will travel to here to here. Okay, so I can get the green there. And the reason I'm interested in that is because that 3rd piece can simply turn around to the front face. So that seems to me to be probably the most sensible thing to do. So I need to just remember that the green is going to the white. So let's position that. I've got a down, then a lower right corner, and then a left 2. That's what I probably need to remember. And then I said the green was going to the white, so there's the piece movement. So it's an ordinary algorithm here. Let's carry it out. You can sort of see what's happening. As I'm trying to turn this, that sometimes is doing that and just positioning itself in the wrong place. Now I've just lost my train of thought here, so I've just got to think where I am. Let's just keep going. I think this is good. If not, the whole thing is messed up. But I have to admit that looks pretty good. The green's in, that white's in. So let's undo the turns. That was the first one to undo. Then I had to put this one back. I had to move that one back. And finally do that there. And we should see, beautiful. All of the inner circle parts are now complete. And what that means, of course, is that as we turn an outer face, yes, it moves these as triplets, but it's not changing any pieces on the face that we're turning. And that's going to be the key for the remainder of the solve. So we now come to the part of the solve which is reducing the outer edges. And this is pretty simple as well. It's one of the longer stages, I guess, but still not that long. I'm going to demonstrate using this first, because what we're generally going to have is we're going to have to make a pair of pieces and then a triplet. So I've already got a pair of pieces here, the white-green outer edge wing and the white-green outer edge, those two. I want to match them with the other white-green piece. Now, the way that I'm going to think about it is I know that if I want to keep them together, if I was to turn like that, it does not keep them together. If I turn like this, they do stay together. So I want to turn them around to here, and I want to have the third green-white sitting right there where that red-yellow is. So I've just got to locate that green-white piece. Okay, it's over here. How do I get it there? And of course, there are other options. I could think about different ways to do this, but that'll do for now. So in order to get it over to this position, what I'll probably do is just something like that. And just that move to put it there has demonstrated that you'll notice all the circle parts are still sitting exactly where they are. So doing those face turns does not affect anything as long as we undo all the face turns. Okay, so now I've got that green-white piece there. Here's how we do it. We turn the pair onto it. That has made a triplet. Yes, it has disrupted this, but that's okay. What I want to do now is use face turns to replace this triplet with any other piece that is not yet done. So for example, this one or this one will do the job nicely. So let's say I turn it off to there, bring a dodgy piece up, undo, undo. The last thing to undo is that corner turn. Again, check all the circle parts. They are all where they should be, but we now have a reduced outer edge. Okay, so that's fairly straightforward. I hope you'll agree. Let's do one where we didn't already have a pair. So here's a really good example. I've got a green-orange piece here, and I've got another green-orange edge, which I note is going to turn like that and match up with the pair. So I turn it on to make a pair, and I then replace the whole triplet with some other piece. So perhaps I'll replace it with this one this time. Like so. Undo that corner turn, and there's the pair that I just made. So once again, I now say, where's my third green-orange piece? Just by the way, that's the one we did before. That's sitting there intact, so nothing's changed about that. Green-orange, normally right in front of me when I go looking for these things. So it's probably right, oh, there it is. Now I've got to find, there's the pair. Okay, they're actually ages away from each other. All right, so again, I want to turn this around to there. So I want the green-orange in that position. At the moment, it's going to turn up like this. So I will do that because I want to show how you deal with that. So I'll put it onto its position, another turn, undo, undo. So I've just done any for face turns there to get that into the position. Now clearly that piece has to be over there. So in other words, I want to flip this triplet before I start. And the way I do that is the way that I do any flipping here. It's basically, well, I'll flip these two. That one will remain untouched. It's a down, down, up, up. And then I want to put this back, but instead of doing the same thing, I want to turn its position or turn it onto its position so that it lands there where I want it. So this time I go around to there, move that piece up, undo, undo. That is a very, very standard sort of move. You may have other moves that you use, doesn't matter what it is. Just flip that triplet. Okay, so now that's done. The pair can turn across. We've made another triplet. We just have to store it somewhere and replace it with anything else that is not yet done. And always use the full 4 moves, and that will get your circle pieces where they should be. There's a couple that have sort of been created here as I'm going, so I'll just ignore them. Maybe do one more of these before I cut away. And we will have some things to talk about in the last 2 or 3, so I'll certainly come back then. What have we got here? Well, okay, here's the red yellow going with a red yellow. I can see that that is definitely going to go to there. So let's replace it with this one. That's done. And then the red yellows need to go with the other red yellow, which is right next to it. Now that has got to turn up to there. So I can see that if I just get that piece to that position there, that'll be perfectly placed. I can't just leave it there. So I want to do that turn and then perhaps replace it with this undo, undo. Okay, that's now in position. So I turn it across. I want to replace this not with that one because it'll break that up, but with this one here. All done. Undo corner turns. And as I said, I'm going to continue doing that. Doesn't matter what order you do them, but I will cut back in for the last 2 or 3. Okay, I'm down to the last 3. I've got the red, green, the white, blue, and the yellow, blue. Pretty sure all the rest are done. So let's firstly, I can see I've got a red, green pair, so I might as well take care of that first. And I need to get that, or the third piece, over to here. So I'll just cycle that around using those face turns. Okay, that's there. I'll make the triplet. Now the other piece that I can use now is this one here. So that has to turn onto there, and I can just use that piece as my third piece while I do the replacement. There we go, that's done. So that then should leave us 2 pieces left. And I've got the yellow, blue, and there it is, the white, blue as well. Now, when you come to this point, you could get them solved. I've never had that happen. You could also get this situation, which looks dodgy, but it's actually perfect. And you could get another situation, which is where you have, for example, I would have the white, blue here, and I would have yellow, blue, yellow, blue. And then I would have the yellow, blue here, and I would have white, blue, white, blue. That stage is one stage before this. Now, I may actually, I think, set up for that now. All right, and this is exactly what I was talking about here. You can see it's a very clear thing. What's going on is we have 2 swaps. So we have, if you like, this yellow, blue, and white, blue need to swap, and this yellow, blue, and this white, blue need to swap. That's fantastic. An even number of swaps is what we're looking for here. And so in order to firstly deal with this, we're going to take it back to the situation I just had. But I just wanted to show you this because this does come up quite a bit as well. So if you have this situation, what you want to do is essentially just turn one of them onto the other one initially. So either I want to do this or I would do this. And it doesn't really matter which one you do. So let's say that I do this. I'll turn that around. And what I'm going to do is flip this triplet in place. And I'll do that the same as I did it before. I flip these 2 pieces. That'll be unchanged. So it's a down, down, up, up, and then position across, put it onto its position, undo both turns. That's done the flip, and I'll now move that back. And what you'll see is that that has created the same sort of scenario as before, where one of them looks just wrong. This one just looks wrong. This is sort of flipped over here and it's got the wrong piece there. The other one looks very nice. It's got a pair of yellow blues there. Now, in terms of what do we have to do now? You might think that we're going to turn the pair onto the other piece, but we don't want to do that. What we want to do is actually turn this white blue on the dodgy piece onto this white blue here. So I've got to match that white blue to this white blue piece. Now, in order to do that, I want to put this triplet over to there, so this will turn onto it. So that's very simple. I'll just sort of do a normal setup like so, and it's now ready to go. Now, if you think about what's going to happen here, let's just ponder. The first thing is I'm turning the white blue next to that so it makes a nicely positioned pair. I am going to flip that triplet. When I flip that triplet, these two white blue pieces will be here, blue white, and in other words, the white will be on the front, the blue will be on the top. When I turn it back, they will match with that final white blue piece. The other thing that will happen is when I flip, notice that I've pushed out two blue yellows. That blue yellow in the flip will go to here, and these will come back and position. So just to be super clear, I've got one piece that looks good, one piece that looks dodgy. I want to turn the dodgy outer edge onto the lone other outer edge wing, and then flip the triplet. That's it. So I'll do that. I'll flip those two in the normal manner that I would use. Okay, that's done. And as I said, when I turn this back, those have almost magically come together, as have those. And that's the hardest you're going to get on finishing the outer edges. Now, the really nice thing here is that this has now been reduced to what's essentially a circle cube. And so the solve here is just placing the edges, placing the corners. So you would go and do that in whatever way you fancy. I would just normally go and get some white ones done first, but you've got to be careful. You don't just want to turn sort of, I don't just want to do this and turn that up into position, because you can see that it's taken the circle edges out with it. So instead, what I want to do is grab the position, turn the piece onto the position, undo, undo. So I'm always using 4 moves, and that will ensure that the circle pieces stay where they should be. So it's a little bit like a super cube, I guess. Okay, so this white green, it's got to go up there. So there's the position. I'll put the white green onto it. Undo, undo. There's a white orange. I can't just turn it up, so perhaps I'll cycle these 3 pieces here. Like so. The last one is this white blue. So I will get its position down. Turn the white blue piece onto the position, undo, undo. So I've now got the 4 white edges there. As is my custom, I will turn that upside down and place 3 of these middle layer edges, any 3. That's the red green. Now I can happily do setups here. So the orange green, I could say I'll turn that around so that I can place it here. And it's simple to see if I've done a setup because the circle parts will be out, so I'll just put them back. The third one, have I got 3 done already? No, I've got 2 done. So the third one, the orange blue. Is now done. That leaves the 4th corner. or the fourth edge I should say, and I now want to use that to get these back two done, the yellow orange, then the yellow green. So the yellow orange, first of all, has got to go in this position, so I'll turn the position around, put it on, undo, undo, that's done. The yellow green, well, that's kind of got to flip over to there, so the easiest thing here I think is to put it down into this middle layer initially, just to store it there. And now I can bring its position across, put it on, undo, undo. Now you're not going to get a situation here as you would on some cubes where you might have to turn the upper face one turn to deal with edges, because clearly that would put the circle parts out. So you're always going to get either these last three will be solved, or they'll be in some kind of 3 cycle that you can fix. So in this scenario, we've got the yellow red needs to go to here, the blue red comes down to here, and this yellow blue is going to come to that position. That's the one that's going to flip, if you like. So if I turn that onto its position, it is flipped. That's no good. So that tells me that is the third piece that I turn. So first piece onto the second, turn the third piece on, undo, undo, and those last 3 edges are done. Awesome. The only thing left is the corners, and I would use the corner piece series here. You can use whatever method you like, but essentially just rolling 3 corners around, and it's actually the same sequence as I showed for these little circle edges earlier in the solve, except that I'm turning left and right faces rather than left and right corners. So if I want to roll that down to there, I will do upper face right away from me, upper face anti-clockwise, left away from me, upper face clockwise, return my right, upper face anti-clockwise, return my left, and that yellow, blue, red corner is there. I'll just continue doing that. And in this case, I'm down to the last 2, which need to be rotated in place, not cycled. So if I cycled them, I would cycle them home. If they're rotated, I've got one here that's going anti-clockwise, the other clockwise. So I'll rotate this one first by doing 2 up, up, down, downs. Here's one of them. Here comes the second. Okay, that's been rotated. Turn the other one into its place and undo. This is just the standard thing that I would normally do to rotate 2 corners. Undo that. You can see this whole thing is solved. That's the Crazy Grills 1. In fact, as always, thanks for watching.